Spring is here, Mother's Day is coming up, and Dollar Tree is carrying a variety of beautiful gift bags. I'm sharing some ideas on how to turn these into gorgeous home decor. I hope you enjoy. For our first project, we're using one of Dollar Tree's large gift bags that you would put a wedding gift into. I absolutely love the floral design on this. I'm going to cut the top third as well as the bottom third off. That is the pattern that I want to use for this project. I'm going to carefully pull this apart so that I'm only left with one layer. I am trying not to mess up any of the flowers because a lot of the flowers that I want to use are on the sides of the gift bag. So once I have that cut down, I do want to try to thin this out because the bag is very thick. So I'm going to take a piece of packing tape, place that down, and then very carefully pull it up so that it removes the back layer of the bag just to thin it out a bit. And I'm going to do this over all of the sections that I need for this project. You will have to use a new piece of tape each time, and just take your time and be very careful not to tear the design on the front. I'll do that for both pieces of the bag. I'm using one of Dollar Tree's 12-inch wood rounds. Remove the hanger and then lay a ruler so I can make a mark at the 4.5-inch and 7.5-inch measurements. Then add a layer of Mod Podge to the top only, spreading that out all the way to the edges. You want to have a nice even coat across the entire front. While the Mod Podge is setting up, I do want to try to remove some of the creases from this bag. So I'm going to lay this on a heating mat, place a piece of parchment paper over it, and then using a small iron, gently go over it and try to flatten this out so that they're less noticeable. I have my iron set on around 365. I'm going to do that for both pieces. Using a square, I'm going to line up my wood round so I can try to make sure everything stays straight. I want the curve of the flowers to go at the bottom, so I'm going to place that straight edge at that 7.5-inch mark and press it down. Then I can add my top piece with the flowers curved toward the top at the 4.5-inch mark and press that down. Then I can take my parchment paper and go over each one of these to iron it out and seal it to the wood round. It's going to help remove some more of those wrinkles and really adhere this to the wood round. Continue to do that for the other piece as well. Using a piece of sandpaper, or I'm using my finger sander, I'm going to go around this in one direction to remove that excess paper. This is going to give you a crisp, clean line all the way around. Once I have that completed, I will take the end of a very small paintbrush to poke through the holes for the wood round so that we'll be able to add our hanger later on. Using my Cricut cutting machine, I created this decal using this gorgeous gold premium vinyl. I know that not everyone has a Cricut, so I do have this as a free printable on my website. The link to that is in my description box below. All you have to do is go to my website, go to free printables, scroll down until you find the design you want to use. You can print that out on PDF, and then you can trace this and place it on your project using a marker or paint. Now we're going to add a twine hanger back to the top of our wood round, double knot it in the back, and this project is complete. You could add some florals or a bow to the front, but I think this turned out absolutely gorgeous just the way it is. If you find a bag that has some wording on the front but you absolutely love the pattern, flip it over to the back side. A lot of times the wording is not back there. Also, if it has a lot of glitter on the front, sometimes if you flip it over on the back side, they don't add the glitter. We're going to cut just the front part of this bag off, and we're going to be using one of Dollar Tree's canvases. This is a square canvas that measures 8.5 inches square. I'm going to hold my bag up to make sure you can't see that design through the bag. Because it's pretty thick, I don't need to paint the canvas, but if you can see the design through your bag, you may want to apply a coat of paint to your canvas first. I'm adding a layer of Mod Podge all over the top of the canvas and spreading that all the way to the edges. Then I can apply the gift bag to the top, press it out, and let that Mod Podge dry. Then I'm going to flip this over onto a cutting board and very carefully take my utility knife to go around and trim the excess gift bag. Just be super careful not to cut your canvas. You could leave it just as it is, but I want to trim out the edges with this beautiful pink ribbon from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to hot glue this periodically, starting on the outside edge. Because it's pretty thin, I'm just going to add a couple of dots of hot glue across each of the edges. And I'm going to bring that all the way down to the other side, so each corner is going to have a piece of ribbon. For our next project, we're using this gift bag. On the front, it has some shiny gold. On the back, it is plain with this gorgeous green color, and that's the side that I want to use. I'm going to cut that side of the bag off, leaving some excess on the outside, and then it does have this cardboard tab. You want to remove that so you can make it as flat as possible. I have this thrifted picture frame that I previously did a DIY on, and I'll have that video linked in the description box below if you want to see how I did that. I painted it white and then I added some gold rub and buff around the frame itself. We're going to take that inside glass piece and use that to trace and cut out the design on our gift bag. Then we're going to add a layer of Mod Podge to the glass on the opposite side of the pattern that I added for that frame, and we're going to set it to the side and let it completely dry. Then I'm going to take that gift bag and I set my heat mat down and then a piece of parchment paper because I wasn't sure if the design would bleed through on my mat. I'm going to take that small iron and try to get some of those creases out and flatten it out as best as I can. Now that the Mod Podge is dried, we're going to attach our gift bag to the front of that. Place a piece of parchment paper over top and then very carefully go over that to iron it, and this is going to reactivate that Mod Podge and adhere it to the glass itself. Now I want to create a border using some burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree, so I'm going to cut each of those sections down and hot glue it right at the edge. This is going to give it a beautiful added touch, but also help to cover up those holes at the top of the gift bag. Once I have all four sides covered with the ribbon, I'm going to flip that over and hot glue the excess ribbon to the back, and then we could put this into our frame, and I think this project turned out absolutely gorgeous, but I would love to know what you guys think. On one of Dollar Tree's end caps, you can find some of the most beautiful small gift bags. They come in a pack of 3 for $1.25. Cut the front and the back of the gift bag off. And then I'm going to place them together and using my paper cutter, straighten up all of the edges to make sure everything's nice and straight and that both of them are exactly the same size. Then I can cut that in half and you'll have 4 pieces. Using a glue stick, we're going to glue 2 of them together with the patterns on the outside and then do the exact same thing for the other 2. Using clear packing tape, pull a piece off longer than your pattern for your gift bag, lay that sticky side up, place your gift bag piece on there and press it down, then take another piece of that packing tape, sticky side down, and press it on top. Then go over it and press it with your fingers, and sometimes it's easier if you just take a flat edge to go over it to get any of those air bubbles out and to push the edges down on the tape on all 4 sides. Then you could take a pair of scissors and you're going to trim it just a little bit outside of the tape. You still want a little edge of that tape showing through. We are making some bookmarks. We're going to do the exact same thing for the other piece of the gift bag. Once you have those sealed in your packing tape, use a hole punch to create a hole at the top so that you can add some twine, ribbon, or even make a tassel. You should be able to get at least 2 bookmarks out of each of those small bags. If you do not know how to make a tassel, we're getting ready to make one on this next bookmark using some white string. Just wrap that around your fingers maybe 7 or 8 times depending on how thick you want your tassel to be. And then you're going to cut a length of string down, fold that in half, take the middle section that you folded in half to feed through the hole of the bookmark, take the other 2 ends, feed it through the center of that, pull it tightly, and then you'll take those 2 strands and tie it in a knot through the loops that you created around your fingers. Depending on how close you want the tassel to be to the bookmark will determine where you tie your double knot around those loops. Once you have that tied, pull all your strands down towards the bottom, take another piece of string, wrap that about 1/4 of a way down from the top of those loops, and then double knot that. Then pull those 2 strands down, separate where your loops are at the bottom, and just cut those in half with your scissors. Then you can pull all your strands down and trim them up nice and even. You can get really creative with these bookmarks by using several different bags, different designs, and adding different ribbons or tassels. Have you guys seen this cute puzzle-shaped photo frame at Dollar Tree? It is absolutely adorable. We're going to remove all of the inside pieces and add a layer of Mod Podge to the top, spreading that all the way to the edge. Now it does have a little bit of a film on the front, so if you recreate this, I do recommend that you take some fine grit sandpaper and scuff up that front before you add your Mod Podge, and I'll show you why a little bit later on in the project. We're going to use this gift bag from Dollar Tree. Now the front side has glitter and the back side does not, so for this project we are going to use the side with the glitter. Now that the Mod Podge is dried, we're going to apply it to that photo frame using that same little mini iron method with the parchment paper and allow that to adhere the gift bag to the front of our photo frame. Once it has cooled down, I'm going to flip that over and using a utility knife trim out the center part, and then using some sandpaper go around that to remove the excess to give you a nice clean line. Then take that utility knife and flip it over to the back side and go around the entire piece, removing the majority of the excess gift bag, and then taking that sandpaper and removing the excess until you have that nice crisp line all the way around. Again, just do this in one direction. with a fine grit sandpaper, and it will easily remove that excess. This is when I realized that some of my edges did not adhere with the Mod Podge, so that's why I recommend that you do scuff it up a little bit before you add your layer of Mod Podge. So I did go back and add the Mod Podge to seal those little corners down. And because we did use the glittery side of the gift bag, to keep that glitter from coming off, you would want to add a layer of Mod Podge to the top of that and let it dry. I just reinserted that cute little picture that was already in the frame to show you what it would look like. I think this turned out absolutely adorable, and I would love to know what you guys think. I hope you enjoyed today's projects, and if you have a favorite, let me know in the comments section down below. I always love to know which one is your favorite. Don't forget to check out our website and hopefully subscribe there so you can receive an email notification when a new blog post is put up, as well as our Facebook page. All of those links are in my description box below. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please take care, and I will see you guys next time.